Hello, everybody. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining us for this live. We have a special topic we are going to discuss, and that is how Black America is dying. How Black America is dying. And I want you to remember before you stop watching this video to smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit all notifications so that you are always alerted of when I drop a new video. So today I have a special guest joining me today to discuss this very important topic, and her name is Samantha. Monique, how are you?
Hey, I am well. How are you? Thanks
I'm
for
doing
having me.
well.
It is such an honor.
Oh, wow. You are more than welcome. I appreciate you accepting my invitation. So, Samantha is going to have her own YouTube channel coming up, and tell us the name of your channel, when we can expect to see it.
So, the name of my channel is called Black Conservative Conversations, and I have my first few videos scheduled to release on the 1st. So, I'm excited about that.
Yes, you guys go and check her out. I'm going to be mentioning her from time to time because I believe in promoting good stuff, Samantha Monique. All right.
I
So
won't
we're
let you
going
down, Miss Linda B. I promise.
to good. So we're just going to talk about how Black America is dying. So when you hear that, Samantha, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it something that has come to your mind sometimes? Like, I wonder why this is going on. I mean, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
So, for me, that's personal because I have 6 children, right? I have my first 4 between the ages of 30 and 18, and then I have a 7 and a 6-year-old. And it's
Mhm.
crazy because the world that I raised my first 4 in, the community, it's a totally different world. It's a totally
Mhm.
different culture altogether. It's
Yes.
scary at the same time. It's terrifying. It really
Mhm.
is terrifying because
Mhm.
a lot of the values that I try to instill in the younger two, that I put in the older 4, it's as if I'm crazy. They think I'm crazy for suggesting such things. And it's
Mm.
like, then you have the wars. We sit back so much and we talk about how white supremacy and the white man this and the white man that. But you walk right out your door. I grew up in Cabrini Green, one of the worst projects in Chicago. I
Okay.
seen more black people get killed with my very own eyes by the hand of a black person than a white person. And it's
That's
heartbreaking.
it's
And they're
heartbreaking.
getting younger. We just
Yeah,
we just
younger.
lost my nephew. He got killed in Chicago 2 Christmases ago.
Mm.
17 years old.
I'm
Gun
so sorry.
violence. It's
Ugh.
just rampant. It's to be expected. It's like the life expectancy of a black male in Chicago is what, 25 now? That's crazy. Do
And
you
it's
know?
Mhm. I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to say, you mentioned life expectancy. And
Hmm.
that's one of the things that I researched before our call. And I'm just going to look, I'm not going to put it on the screen, but this is something that anybody can just Google and it pops up. It says
Okay.
life expectancy by race and gender in the United States. And
Wow.
this is as of 2020, white men 73.2 years, white females 80.5 years. But when
Okay.
you go to black men, it drops to 68.3 years.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
That's
Wow.
such a big drop from the white men, of 73.2. And then black females, we're 78.1, not too far below. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Asian women live like really long, like 87.2 years.
Wow. It's the
But
diet. It's the diet.
it's got to be because they be eating healthy and walking and doing all
Yes,
this stuff.
ma'am. Lots of
So,
veggies.
yep. And so black men have the lowest is 68.3.
Wow.
Every other dynamic is 70 and higher.
Wow.
So 68.3. And I remember thinking this a long time ago. I said, you know what? It's a big deal when a black man make it to 70 years old.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I
And
remember
then
thinking that.
And not so much as that. You think about if they make it that far, if they have a wife with them, because a lot of our black elderly men, they're stuck in homes with no
Mm-hmm.
one to take care of them, which goes back to the root of the nuclear family in the black community, keeping
Yes.
that nuclear family. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I feel like we have gotten so easy, and it has been praised for so long being an independent woman
Yeah.
and
That's no
crowning
good.
the single
That's no
mom
good. That's
at
no good.
all. And it's not because I I was an independent woman with my first four.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met my husband and we had our two. And I don't see how I did it, but I would never ever go through life again without that support, without that person to submit to, without that person to help to make decisions for me and that I can follow, without that backbone in our family. It
Yeah.
makes a big difference. It's a safety net, it's that security. I have a reassuring mindset now. And not
Mm-hmm.
so much that my son that I'm raising. My
Mm-hmm.
son that I'm raising now with his father in the home, in comparison to my other ones that was raised by just me, you can
Uh-huh.
tell the difference. It's
Yeah.
such a big difference. As a mom, it's heartbreaking, and
Mm-hmm.
as a black woman, it's heartbreaking because
Mm.
we so busy wanting to kick the man out, put him on child support instead of trying to fix this thing and let's make this thing work for these children so they can grow up with both of us.
And
And
I
I
agree.
understand.
The nuclear family has been messed up for the black community in America for a long time. I don't think it's like that in other countries, but in
Yeah.
America, the what we got to get back to, and I was going to talk about this later, but since we're on it, we need to get back to family, the nuclear
Yes.
family, husband, a wife, and we need to do things a certain way. If we could
Yes.
just, first of all, put God first, then you graduate high school, you try to get a trade, get yourself situated where you can make money in something that's profitable and legal. And you wait till
Mhm.
marriage, you marry
Mhm.
someone that love and trust, and then you have
Mhm.
children. It needs to be done in a
Yes.
certain order. Have children within the confines of a stable marital relationship is what I believe
Yes.
is best for everybody. It's best for, because men live longer if they're happily married. People do better
Exactly.
emotionally happily married, and the children do better in a happy home, a happy
Mhm.
two-parent home. And that whole feminism stuff that started in the 60s, and don't get me started with that Nikki Giovanni and all that kind of stuff,
Oh
and
my God.
marriage is like slavery and all that kind of, that was a lie from
Mhm.
the pit of hell.
It is. It is. It absolutely is.
You want to die alone, or you want a good husband who loves you? You just
Yes.
saying,
Yes.
if he a good husband, you're gonna be happy.
Exactly. And it won't be a chore. It won't be. It'll be a. It's a ministry.
It's a
It's kind of like
ministry.
a ministry.
And you can
To me, it's a
relax. Like,
ministry.
baby, he like, oh, you like you have
Yes.
rub your
Yes.
feet. I mean, who don't want that? Like, they tripping.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it's worth it. It's so worth it. It's so
It's
worth it.
worth it. Just get the right one is what I say. So we talked about life expectancy. So we know
Mhm.
that black men not even at 70 years old. And that's why the thing is like how America is dying. And you mentioned the homicide rate in Chicago,
Mhm.
and your relative was, taken out at the age of 17. I'm so sorry. But
Yes.
it's very bad in Chicago. I've heard about Chicago for
Yes.
a very
Oh,
long time now. I am from the city of Macon, Georgia. I don't know how familiar
oh,
you are with Georgia. It is like 80 miles south of Atlanta,
okay.
and it's very high crime. Okay.
Mm.
And every time a black man is dead in the street, he is under the age of 30 and
Wow.
taken out by another black man. So in my mind, I don't just go with what people say. I look at what is actually happening.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
want to blame the white man. I'm like, yeah, but y'all out here get rid of each other. So
Yes.
I'm just saying, make it make sense. You got to take ownership. We take
Yes.
responsibility for what we do. You just
Yes.
used to be going around pointing fingers, and that just alleviates them from having responsibility. It may
Mhm.
be a bitter pill to swallow, but some of this stuff is self-inflicted.
Yeah.
So that is just my opinion on that. What do you say?
I totally agree. And then also getting back to neighborhoods and community. I was watching a story about a woman in Detroit who had 3 kids, and they had been left by themselves for 4 years since 2021. When
Wow.
she left them kids, they were 8, 9, and 11. 2 girls and a boy. They lived in condominiums in Michigan.
Mm.
She would take them a cooked meal once a week, deliver Meals on Wheels to her children once a week for 4 years. And no one missed these children. No one, no, not a school, not a social service, not a relative, not anyone realized these kids have not been seen in 4 years. They said the children, the house was atrocious. Like it was just so full of feces and urine and just dry and rotted food. The babies could barely walk because their toenails were so thick and ingrown to whereas they could barely walk. They had no personal hygiene for 4 years, no other human contact besides themselves for 4 years.
You're
None. This little
serious?
boy,
So how
yes,
are they doing right now?
they're with family. This just happened a few days ago. They went to the hospital. Now they're with family members right now. And the mom was actually just arrested yesterday or the day before. So
Needed
she is
to be.
arrested. She
She
needed to be
needs to
under the
be.
jail. They were in
Oh
prison
my
for
God.
4 years. They were in prison literally for
Wait,
four
wait.
years.
You said they got a meal once a week.
Yes, a cooked meal once a week. She put it at the doorstep, and she would only talk to the son. She wouldn't talk to the daughters as if he was her baby daddy or something. She would only communicate with him, the oldest. But where were the neighbors? I know someone smelled something. I know someone noticed something. Like,
How
where
old
were
were
the
they again?
community?
How old were they again?
At the beginning, they were 8, 9, and 11. And now
Okay.
they're like 15, 11, and 12. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these kids have been
Mm,
in prison on house arrest for 4 years.
that is awful. I'm surprised they're
Yes.
still alive.
Yes. And this
It's
is
about
what our community is
God.
dealing with. Yes.
That's
God.
awful.
So bad.
Oh, that's awful.
Yes.
Now I want to get back to birth
Yes.
rate. Now we're talking about how Black America is dying. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I looked up is birth rate.
Okay.
Fertility rate. So it looks like Black women are doing okay in that department, but Hispanic women are having the most babies, according to this. And this is from what year? It doesn't say
Man.
what year. I just Googled it, but Hispanic birth rate is like 64.4 per
Okay.
1,000 women ages 15 to 44. Black women is 55.2 and white women 52.5. So our birth rate is up. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
problem with the birth rate because guess what is affecting that birth rate? We may have the children, or something may happen. But one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that is not telling me, the birth rate right here is still high, which is good. But then I looked at the abortion rate by ethnicity. Now I've heard
That's what
all my
I'm
life
getting.
that I've heard all my life white girls get the most abortions, but that's not what I saw. I remember working at this place. They call it Caring Solutions in my hometown, and it almost every single girl came in there was a Black girl thinking about abortion, and we
Mm-hmm.
would pray with them,
Mm-hmm.
talk them out of it, let them, they have an ultrasound machine because a lot of times they change their mind if they see the baby's heartbeat, look at the
Yes.
baby in the sonogram. And so they would change their mind and they would want to keep it. And the goal was to keep them from getting rid of the child and just give their life to the Lord. It was a ministry, like witness to them about Jesus.
Wow.
So and it was a great
Wow.
thing to be a part of. I mean, it really was. You just felt like you were doing something so
Yeah.
meaningful. You know what I'm saying?
You were. You were saving
Unfortunately,
lives. Of course you were.
yes,
Saving
yes,
lives and saving souls at the same time is a great reward for that.
yes. And so, Black women, we have the most abortions according to this stat that I'm looking up. And again, you can just Google abortion rates by race in the United
Mm-hmm.
States. Black women, 28.6 abortions per 1,000 women. And this is ages 15 to 44. Hispanic, 12.3 per 1,000. White women, 6.4 per
What?
1,000.
Double?
And
Double?
other races, 9.2. So we're at the top of getting rid of our children.
Wow.
Okay. So we are, that's just horrible, horrific to me. Um, 28.6, which is way above everybody else. The
Mhm.
next line would be Hispanic, and theirs is less than half of that. And then white women, less than half of that.
Wow.
So, or half of that. So I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the abortion clinics in the black neighborhoods. And this is not a
Mhm.
political channel. I don't want
No.
to get into politics right here, but I want everybody looking at this video right now. If you happen to come across this video, I want you to know and think about which party promotes getting rid of your children.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
one puts those abortion clinics in black neighborhoods?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
want everybody to think about that now. I don't want us to be this kind of people that we are fed information coming from the TV and we got to look around and see what's actually happening in our communities, in our own lives. So,
Absolutely.
what would be your take on that?
I 100% agree with you. They make it's too convenient. It's an
Yes.
easy answer. You
Hmm.
know, with the Hispanic culture, they're so big on family to whereas when one of their women get pregnant, even if it's out of wedlock, even if she's young, that entire family pulls together and works around her and enable her to still be able to go to school and go to
Hmm.
work and everybody pitches in and babysits and all this. But see, what we've gotten away from in our community is grandma don't babysit anymore. And
Yeah,
grandma's the same age as mom almost pretty much because we was having kids so young. And it's
exactly.
just so praised whereas abortion is considered health care.
Mm,
Like I don't understand that. And
mm,
they're we're not held accountable to our body count anymore like we need to be. We're
right.
not holding our girls accountable. You
Hmm.
know, and it's so heartbreaking because they put these abortion clinics right in the black community and they help
Right.
you pay for them too if you can't afford it. They even
Exactly.
help you pay for them.
It's just come on, just get rid of yourselves. I mean, and they promote things as healthcare, but it's really not healthcare for the baby now, is it?
No,
It's not
no,
healthy for the baby. I don't know
it's
who
not. And I
healthcare you're
guarantee,
talking about. It's not healthcare for the baby. It absolutely is not. So
no.
the abortion rate, that really, really saddens me. That really, really saddens me. I don't think people look at it for what it is. This is a
Hmm.
life. This is something God put there.
Yes.
And you're getting rid of it like it's just trash. So that's just my view as a Christian. That's just my view. I know a lot of other people don't agree. I get it. I get it. But I don't think they understand the why it was a thing in the first place. Like, why
Mhm.
is there such a thing
Exactly.
as abortion? Why was this put out? It was put out to get rid of Black people. Um,
Population control. Yep.
Population control of Black people.
Of black
Don't,
people. Yes.
yep. They looked at us as human weeds. And,
Hmm.
we can get into the whole Margaret Sanger thing. She was an
Hmm.
atheist,
Yes.
racist, didn't like Black folks, wanted us to get rid of ourselves. And that was
Hmm.
that was the knowledge behind abortion. And I don't know a lot if how many people out there realize that. So that I just brought that up for people to look into. But
Hmm. It's like
yeah.
because it's an important factor to our growth as a black community. It's a very
Hmm.
important factor. If we're killing, if we're killing more babies,
Hmm.
almost than we're producing,
Hmm.
the math
Yeah.
right there, common sense will tell you that eventually
We're
we will
going
be
down in
depleted
population.
or so watered down to where we're so insignificant. It doesn't
Right.
matter. Nothing will matter when it comes to Black America.
Absolutely. So I
That's
just
so
that
heartbreaking.
whole abortion thing, and it breaks my heart because they look and these late term things to the late term abortion. I'm like, you got a baby in there hollering in pain.
Those are murders.
I'm just
Those
sorry.
are
I mean,
murders. Those are murders.
that's horrible. I mean, the baby. The only thing difference is inside. It feels. It feels. The baby feels. Um,
Hmm.
Something
Hmm.
happening. And that's just like, and people would just think and pause, like, do you realize what you are doing? I mean, this baby is suffering.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they look at abortion
Yes.
like a form of birth control. You know, your birth control is keep your damn legs closed.
Yep.
If you can't, I mean,
Point blank.
don't
Period. Yes. That one
oh,
right
mm, 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 mm,
there.
mm.
Yes.
I tell you the truth,
Yes.
these people out here in these
Oh
streets.
my God.
Now, you did mention crime
But that
rate,
just
huh?
goes back to the. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
you mentioned crime rate. Um, now that's very bad because homicide
Oh
rate. Did you think of something you were gonna say? It's okay if you think of something.
no, I was going to say no. I'm still nervous. I'm sorry, but no, I was going to say that if you take cities like Chicago, the
Mhm.
crime rate is ridiculously high,
It is very high.
and not so much as crime, but the murder rate. Let's just
Murder.
talk about the murder rate alone.
Mhm.
I cannot tell you how many funerals I attended. And now it's to the point where funerals are
Mhm.
being memorialized to whereas they're just like the bomb. They're made into movies. They're turning into parties and everybody getting their shirts and they're making movies and you're getting your face on the casket and it's just crazy. I understand the celebration, but the children and the caskets are getting smaller. They're
Mm.
getting smaller. These kids are dying so much younger.
Mm.
They're initiating them even younger. Back when I was growing up in Chicago, you at least had to be a teenager or a young adult before they even think about talking to you about being in the gangs. Now
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. They're taking in kids and training kids on how to be a gangster. They're literally leading these kids to an early grave and not batting an eye about it. It's a way of
Mm.
life. It's nothing. And that is the
I
saddest thing. Like, I it just breaks my heart.
It is very heartbreaking. And I did, I know this is not a political channel, but this thought came to my mind, with everything that's happening with getting certain elements out of these cities. They got to go back to where they came from, then
Hmm.
come in the right way. Or if they done already committed crimes, you gotta go because Chicago, places like Chicago already got enough problems. We don't need to
Yes,
add to the already
yes,
high homicide rate,
yes.
with illegals coming in, and they're doing some
Hmm.
horrible things. And
And the saddest part about that is here, they're dumping them in our neighborhood. They're not sending them on Lakeshore Drive. They're not taking them up north in Lincoln Park. No, they're coming straight here in Hyde Park or on the south side or on the west side. They're putting them in the black neighborhoods, which
yeah,
is
that's what
affecting
I
the
found out.
black community.
Exactly. Now take that into consideration. Now, putting the criminal illegals, because some of them are committing crime. Not everybody just innocent, just want a better life. You got to admit some of them are committing crimes. Because you got the Trinidad Aragua gangs, you've got MS-13 gangs from
Yeah.
El Salvador. You got people um,
MS-13.
raping and unaliving and all this kind of stuff. And then they put the abortion
Yes.
clinics in the black neighborhood. So what is that like a constant message of? I mean, what are we getting from that? So
Don't
I
kill
just
yourself.
look at that and I'm going, wait a minute now. Wait
Yeah.
just a minute. Now, who in
That's
office right now
crazy.
is not for that? That they're not for
Yes.
that. Y'all got to go.
And it makes you ask yourself, how insignificant do you think we are as a black culture to
Mhm.
whereas this is the setup that you have for us?
Right.
Are we really that insignificant to whereas it's okay for our entire culture to be killed off, to die off?
Yeah. Ah, it's just it makes me want to spit. I get mad. I need a head
Mhm.
right now.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm just serious. It just really bothers me. So in my mind, I listened to this other podcaster. His name is Vince Everett Ellison. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he is a powerhouse. He's written a lot of books. He's a black man. And he said that black people, we're dying. The replacement rate is not high
Mhm.
enough. He said America
Wow.
is dying. He said America is dying. He said in order for us to be able to replace ourselves, we would have to have at least two children. But we're at a replacement rate that's below where it should be. We're at 1.6.
Wow.
So it's not just Black America, it's America. It's like we're
Mhm.
not replacing ourselves. So the birth rate is nowhere near as high as this homicide. You got all that, and then you got the abortion thing. You got a lot of things that have death in them.
Even incarceration,
Yeah,
mass incarceration. Incarceration play a big part in all of that as a whole.
yes,
It all
yes,
ties together, and it all leads to the destruction of Black America.
yeah. And
All of
that family thing, we got to get back to family.
it. Family first, yes. God
Family,
first,
Black folks,
and
family.
then
Come
family.
on now.
Yes, yes, yes.
We need to have
God first, and
strong
then family.
families,
Yes,
strong families. Marry somebody you can trust. Try to have children within the confines of marriage. I cannot
yes,
stress that enough. And be plentiful and multiply.
yes. Very much so. Yes,
Multiply. The Lord said, multiply.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So I looked at what did I see here? I looked at the abortion rate, and then I looked at murder victims in the United States. And this is coming from 2023, and this is by race. So in 2023, and this is, of course, reported murders,
Right.
that are
Hmm.
not reported. So we're looking at about 17.7 thousand in the year 2023 of total murders.
Hmm.
Black people are at the top with 9.2 thousand, so 9,284 Black people. These are murder victims, and white murder victims 7,289. Other races 586. So Black people, and we only make up
So
about
of that
30.
number,
Mhm.
I was going to say, of that number, does it say what percentage of that 9,000 is women versus Black men?
It doesn't say. It just says Black.
Okay.
Yeah. But my thing is, we only make up 13% of the population, and we're at almost 10,000. And that was from 2023. I didn't see anything from last year. Maybe they're still getting those numbers together, but that's too many. It's never good. One is too many, to be honest, of any ethnicity. But it's the world. We're gonna have something going on, and that's unfortunate. And I just want people to look at. We have a lower life expectancy. Birth
Hmm.
rates are okay, but we have a high abortion rate,
Right.
and then the crime.
Hmm. So
So
if you
all.
think about it, we're only 13% of the population, but
Mhm.
we're more than half of the murders,
Yes,
well more than half of the incarcerations, well
yes,
more than half of the abortions.
yes.
What does that tell us as Black Americans?
We're getting rid of ourselves.
We're depleting ourselves by
We're
our
doing
own
it to
hands
ourselves.
and
We're
have no
doing
one to blame for it.
exactly. We're definitely doing it to ourselves, and we need to take ownership of that.
Hmm.
We don't grow. We don't grow. How we were raised was you take responsibility for what you do.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not being a mature person to blame all your bad decisions on somebody else.
Hmm.
When we stand before God on that fateful day, we can't be like, well, so and so made me do it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you
Can't
stand
stand
up
it
for
for white
what you
supremacy.
did. You can't be passing the buck. This
No,
ain't
ma'am.
the Garden of Eden where you can be like Adam and blame Eve and be like Eve and blame the snake. No, you got to take responsibility for
Yeah.
what you do. Okay, none of that. You got to be grown ups here. Look at the
Gotta
woman
hold
and look at
myself
the man in the
accountable.
mirror. Okay, that's
So,
what
Miss
we.
Linda B, changing it.
Mhm.
Where does that start?
I believe we need to get our focus off of government. A lot of people,
That's good.
we're looking at government to give us things, whether it's reparations, whether it's this. People have their own feelings about programs that are out there that say they're for Black people, like DEI. They say it is, but the numbers don't really
No,
say that. I'm just
numbers
saying
don't lie.
I mean, people, 2 plus 2 is going to always equal 4. These numbers don't lie. So I need everybody to
Don't
stop
lie.
falling for the okey doke.
Yes.
Need to focus on depending on the Lord, give our lives to the
Mhm.
Lord. And I think and focus on family. That's how we can heal. And then when you have a family, a dedicated, committed, faithful husband, dedicated, committed wife working
Mhm.
together to raise their family up in the fear and admonition of the Lord, and also to have generational wealth. It's easier
Yes.
to do that when you have a
Yes.
team working together to do that.
Yes.
We need to get back to the nuclear family. We need to get back to the Lord and to the nuclear family, doing it how they did
Yes.
back in the olden days, because Black people didn't have these problems before
We
the
didn't.
1950s.
We did not.
We
We
had
did not.
stayed together. There was very little out of wedlock births.
Yes.
There was very low divorce rate. There was very low crime rate and all of that. Families stayed together. And if you look at those old black and white pictures, I did this in another video, even people that didn't have much, we
Hmm.
looked nice when we stepped outside.
Always clean.
The women had their little purses, their little cute dresses with a little bit of waist, and
Little
the
heads on the
little
head.
hats and the little purses and gloves, and the men
Yes.
had with the overcoats.
Yes.
And like, wait a minute, what happened to this? This
Yes.
looks great. And they were like dressed beautiful.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
remember reading somewhere where these white people would come to Harlem back in the day,
Hmm.
before the 60s, maybe the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they would go on a Sunday to watch Black people go to church.
Wow.
They just wanted to look at us.
Wow.
We were
Wow.
called we were called the beautiful people. We were called the beautiful people
We
because we
are.
were so nice. And
Yes.
everybody was, the women were in dresses, the
Hmm.
men were in their suit with the hat and the coat, the children were looking nice.
Hmm.
And they were walking, from their car to the church together as a family. And that's a beautiful sight.
Hmm.
That is how it is
And
supposed
structure.
to be
There was structure. Yes.
structured. And everybody was like, when daddy came home, everybody
Yes.
was like
Yes.
this. Because the man is home.
Yes.
We
Yes.
got to get back.
Yes.
I believe
Yes.
we get
Or
back
if
to that.
it's when dad come through, everybody. Yes.
Yep. And we just got to
I
respect
think
order.
we lost our way a lot with structure too. When you said structure, that was just like, wow. We don't have
Mhm.
as much structure as we used to because of all the interference. You can't
Yeah.
discipline your children a certain way. You have to worry about DCFS, or you have to worry about the police.
Mhm.
We allow so many outsiders to come in and make rules for us and put us in these limitations that we have with raising our children.
Mhm.
And it's so restraining, it's constraining, and it's
Right.
frustrating because you just want to be like, no, my mom did it, my dad did it, my grandparents did it, and they
Yes.
were okay. We were
It's
okay. Even back then, we were outpacing every race in
mhm.
earnings. We
Mhm.
were good. We have so
We
much
were
power,
good to go.
so
And
much
it's like something
knowledge.
came in and said, stop this.
Yes,
We're
stop it.
doing too
Yes,
good. Because we were doing very well. Black
we
people, we
were.
had Black Wall Street. We were doing so, so well. We had cut our
Yes.
poverty rate and by 50% from 1930 to
Mm-hmm.
1960, I believe.
60.
And then
Yep.
we just had a stagnant thing. Um, yeah, and I don't want to talk about civil rights, but if we look at how I don't want to get into that. But, I know it's Black History Month, but
Ooh, that's
we
a
look.
whole nother subject.
I remember thinking, I said, well, what happened? This was before I connected the dots. I said, it looked
Right.
like Black folks when they Jim Crow, when the KKK was running around lynching
Yes.
folks.
Yes.
And I was like, I said to myself, I said, self, no, I didn't say that. I said, now it looks like Black people, when the white folks, the racist white people, the Klan stopped killing us,
Mhm.
then we started killing us.
Killer. Yep. We did it for them. They didn't have to.
We
We was
did
doing
it. They didn't have to do it anymore. And I said at some point between, when did it start? Around 1970 or late 60s, 70s. It's the early 70s, the
it early
very
stuff.
beginning. The very beginning. And that's when the Crips and the Bloods were formed and all these gangs came in. I
Hmm.
said, ooh.
Yep. Right after they took the black man at the home and the black kids were looking for family
Yeah.
because daddy wasn't there anymore to put his foot down and to have that structure and that discipline in that home,
Yeah.
that's when the gangs took over.
And it's hard for a woman to raise children with that without the man being there.
Absolutely.
Anybody, just the man doing it by himself. I mean, you need help. And
Absolutely.
um and it's like men were looking for father figures. We were looking
Yes.
for that something, and the streets became their father instead
Yes.
of their actual father. And so
Yes.
women became married to the government instead of the fathers
Mhm.
of their children. And welfare was really, it dismantled the black family. It just
Destroyed it.
literally, it, you were right, destroyed it, destroyed
Destroyed
it.
it.
And
But
when you, there's, this is my saying, as goes the family, as
Mhm.
goes everything else. If you
Yes.
mess that up, everything else is shot to hell. I mean, it's just messed up. It's really messed up. And so I want us as people of all ethnicities, not just black folks, but we
Mhm.
aren't talking about how black America is dying. Those are we gave you life expectancy. Our life expectancy is not as high as our white brothers and sisters. Birth rate is okay, but then the abortion rate is high.
Mhm.
And then the crime rate.
Mhm.
So these are things that is out there, and we gave the remedy, guys. God, get married first, graduate high school, get married to someone you trust, have children within the confines of marriage, and
Yes.
stay together. And I reiterate, marry someone you trust. Don't just get married because you say you married.
Right. Right.
The goal is not just to get married, you want to stay
Married.
happily.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay. All
ma'am.
right. Now we got to do things the right way and get back to Jesus.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I thank you for joining me today, Samantha Monique of Black Conservative Conversations. Now, she's going to start her channel beginning of March.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
You
Be,
want to
be on the lookout. I'll be there.
close?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You want to close it out? Is there anything else you want to say to my audience?
Nope.
Anything else?
Just continue to follow Miss Linda B for some of the best, absolute best commentary on Black America, Black people in general, politics as well, even though it's not this channel. But some
Y'all
real
can
down
follow
to
me on
earth.
chat with me, Linda B. That's the other channel.
Oh yeah, go over there real fast. But some real, if you want some real down to earth, can break it down and some commentary that you can relate to,
Mhm.
that's the one, Miss
Oh,
Linda B.
thank you. Thank you so much, girl. You have a great night.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, that was it for today's show. Be able to check out now Black Conservative Conversations. Yes, that's Samantha Monique. Samantha Monique. You guys got to check her out. Now, don't forget, she's starting her show at the beginning of March. All right, you all, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, hit all notifications. You all be blessed, and until next time.